if you clicked on this video, then you're probably on self-improvement, and the majority of people around you probably aren't. And they may think that you're quite weird because you work out, you have a good diet, and you actually just overall care about your health and you care about your future, and you don't want to live the sort of normal, average life that is potentially laid out for you. You don't want to be this sort of NPC type of person that kind of distracts themselves from their problems with a bad lifestyle like drinking and drugs and partying, because you actually want to face your problems and overcome your problems and be a better person once you end up going through that sort of overcoming problem phase. And as I said before, you've probably been called weird simply because you're on self-improvement. You've probably been called weird because you're actually not giving in to instant gratification, and you're actually kind of doing delayed gratification by doing things like meditation and journaling, which the majority of people probably think are quite weird. You probably go to the gym. Hopefully you do have somewhat of a good diet where you don't eat 200 grams of sugar every single day. And yeah, you've probably been called weird simply because you sort of want to live the life that you want to live in the far future, and you're sort of giving up what you want now for what you actually want most, which is your dream life when you're 30 or 20 or even 40 potentially. And me personally, I've been called weird by a plethora of different people simply because of the fact that I like working out, I have a good diet, and I don't like eating so much sugar, and I like reading books. I've been called things like a neek and a nerd and all that sort of stuff simply because I go to a gym and I have a good diet and I read books. And that's sort of the basic generic things of self-improvement. Imagine what people would sort of think of you or me if we had like even weirder little purposes and little quirks and little sort of unique things about us that are just not normal whatsoever. Because going to the gym, having a good diet and reading books is something that personally I think everyone should do, and it's something that I personally think should be normal. I think going to the gym, working out, having a good diet and reading books should be the normal, and we should all sort of not do so much instant gratification, because otherwise our lives are going to end up being ruined in the future when we've not actually ended up building anything through delayed gratification, and we end up having bad mental health and being just quite sad in general. And if I decided instead to seek validation from other people and not go to the gym, not read books, I'd eat the sugar instead, then realistically, my life probably wouldn't be as good as it currently is now. And now I feel like I'm quite a happy person that's actually building their future through delayed gratification. And life is great personally, and I do not want that to change. And that is why I don't falter to validation and decide to do things like eating the sugar, not reading the book, and not going to the gym. But yeah, I have always been quite weird in the fact that I like different things to other people. I've always sort of not really been on the normal generic path. I've always kind of dabbled my feet in the water with things like self-improvement, but then over the last year or so, I've actually sort of taken things seriously, and that's when obviously the majority of more people decided to call me weird because I was reading books and going to the gym and like not eating sugar, which is what the majority of people do not do. The majority of people do the opposite of that, and that's why I am called weird. And I love being weird, because if I was normal, then my life would not be as good. If I didn't go to the gym, if I didn't read books, if I ate lots of sugar, my life would not be as good as it is today. And so henceforth, I love being weird, and you should love being weird and not normal too, because otherwise your life probably wouldn't be as good as it is today, because the normal person and not being weird, filtering to validation, means that your life would end up being worse, because the normal person's life isn't exactly great. They may not be in a job that they like, they may not have lots of fulfillment in their life, they may have bad mental health, they may not have great relationships with their family and their friends and all that kind of stuff, but you don't want to be normal. You don't want to sort of fall to the validation and do the things that make you normal, like not going to the gym, like not reading books, like eating lots of sugar, because yeah, then the things that we just talked about almost 30 seconds ago are going to end up happening to you if you decide to like not do these good habits. And I am weird in a plethora of other ways that actually mean that I am actually quite weird. I mean, personally, as I said before, I want things like the gym, having a good diet, and reading books to be quite normal. But I also want there to be things about me and about other people that just really are not normal whatsoever. I mean, personally, ever since I was a kid, I was obsessed with maps. When I was 2 to 3 to 4 years old, I would read not normal books, not the sort of normal fiction books that everyone in my school read. I would read maps. How weird is that? I was so weird as a child, and yet I still somewhat enjoy looking at maps to this day. Like, how weird and how unique is that? You probably didn't click on this video thinking that I was going to say that I love maps. Who on earth would have thought that when they first clicked on this thumbnail telling them to not be a normal person? You just don't think that kind of stuff, because all this sort of unique things that we have in our personalities and in our daily lives, they are the things that make us us. If we never had any of these, if we never had any of our weird, unique quirks, if I never liked maps or whatever, if you never liked that particular instrument, if you never liked that particular book series, or if you never liked doing this or having that weird hobby that everyone calls you weird for, we'd all just be sort of normal people that didn't really have anything special about us. And that's why I just sort of rant about this, because you really shouldn't want to be a normal person, because one, the life of a normal person, of an average person, isn't exactly spectacular, and is probably not where you personally, if you're watching this video, actually want to end up. But yeah, you just shouldn't be normal, because otherwise nothing about you then becomes special. You want to develop your own little weird hobbies and interests, just like I've been obsessed with maps ever since I was a goddamn child. So yeah, I hope you found value at this little video and rant about how you really shouldn't just want to be normal. You should actually just embrace your little quirks and unique things and live with them, and don't let anyone sort of tell you that you're weird because you like going to the gym and having a good diet and reading books and having your weird little hobbies or whatnot. So yeah, I also recommend subscribing, because I love this community of young tribal people who are willing to improve themselves so much more than they already have, and good luck.